Ian Irving, our World Cup guru, is here. Ian, I'd like to say I had an ounce of inspiration for our team left. On Friday, we were full of hope, we were full of optimism.
3-0 and 4-1 were our predictions, I believe.
What happened? What happened?
It just didn't happen, did it? It just didn't happen. One reason or another, I don't really know what those reasons are, but we were shocking. There was no invention in our play, there was no cohesion, there was no creativity. Where was the passion? And you know, me and my dad watched it together, sat there watching it and just thinking, why are we bothering?
I know.
We've made all this effort, we've hung flags out the windows, we bought England shirts, and we just felt completely let down, really.
You can't question the passion of the England fans. The whole of England is behind them in a big way. There are flags everywhere. There are whole street parties going on. There's so much behind them, and yet when we get to the pitch, now let's try and break this down.
Okay.
What do you think is the root of this problem? Is it the formation that we're using? Is it this rumoured disquiet with Fabio Capello? Something is going so wrong here, isn't it?
It's very, very difficult to understand. If it's a problem with Fabio Capello, why did we win 9 out of 10 qualifiers playing the system that he wanted to play? If it's a problem with the tactics, again, why did we win 9 out of 10 qualifiers playing what is more or less the same system with the same players?
We're seeing some of the pictures now.
Yeah, they just seem so disjointed. I mean, Wayne Rooney having a go at the fans in a camera. We know Wayne Rooney's passionate, and sometimes, he does go a little bit too far. But what, shouting into a camera at being booed by the fans? They had, a terrible game, 0-0 against Algeria, a team that they definitely should have won.
And really, without thinking. I mean, I'm sure it was the heat of the moment. I'm sure he was very frustrated with himself. I'm sure he was very frustrated with the team's performance. But that was a bad move, wasn't it? A really bad move.
Well, he's backtracked and he's apologised for it. But the damage was done by saying it,
yeah, anyone could say anything, can't they, after the effect? I mean, that doesn't really wash now with the amount of passion that we were taking with us. You know, if that was in terms of home support, it was there.
Well, I think it's because of how far it's away and how much it will have cost those fans to go. I'm sure people have been sacked from the jobs and things like that, and worse possibly, because they wanted to get across to South Africa and support our boys. Now, if Wayne Rooney feels that way, then that's the way he feels. Unfortunately, if fans have gone all that way and paid all that money, then it's up to them how they want to treat a result like 0-0 against Algeria, which, is not good enough.
I have to say, having watched the entire match just about, he seemed to me one of the most inactive players.
Yeah,
he seemed to just watch the ball go past.
He's not having a great World Cup. The 2 games that he's played have not gone well for him. It dates back really to his injury that he suffered playing for United at Bayern Munich in March. I don't think he's scored a goal in competitive football since that. He did get one in a behind closed doors friendly against a local side in the warm-up to the World Cup. But I don't know, you watched Terry's press conference yesterday, and very much so the captain, he might not have an armband on, but very much so the man who came out fighting and said the things that needed to be said. Now, such passion and honesty we've not really seen from England footballers about the sort of situation that they're suffering in. I say suffering, I don't really think that's the right word. However, it was refreshing to see someone come out and say that, and I think it still shows that John Terry is one of the leaders in the camp. That said, for that type of press conference to be held at this stage of the World Cup is not ideal.
No.
They supposedly had clear the air talks last night. Anything that's clear the air talks during a World Cup seems a little bit baffling and worrying as well, of course. But if it can mean that there's a change in the way that the World Cup's been going so far, then I'm all for it. Now, this morning it's been reported, it's only understood at this point, nothing's been confirmed, that Fabio Capello refused to discuss tactics. John Terry called for Joe Cole to be played in a change of system, in the press conference yesterday. But it's been said that Fabio Capello refused to talk about that. However, he will reconsider the idea of naming the team 2 hours before kick-off, which he's done throughout the whole way through of his managerial career. So why change now? I don't understand.
Okay, let's draw a line under that. Of course, we've got Wednesday afternoon to look forward to.
Indeed.
Let's look back first, though, because as the Sun said, there is hope. Here are the results from the weekend, and some big surprises came up in the results from the weekend as well.
Obviously England's result, probably the one that we noticed the most, but Italy drawing with New Zealand. Now, New Zealand are probably worse than Algeria, and the Italians, of course, are the world champions. They won the World Cup in 2006. Now that's as big a shock as you'll see in this tournament, as big a shock as Spain getting beat by Switzerland. But it could be worse for anyone because they could be the French team.
Well,
now, we talk about disarray and disharmony.
This is a shambles, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
It's a national disgrace, really, to them.
Yeah.
But, of course, in France, this kind of behaviour is just totally normal, isn't it? It's what happens. What happens in the workplace, and it's now happening on the football pitch, but in front of the world's arena.
Well, I've had to actually write down everything that's happened because that many things have happened.
Yeah, go on, take us through it.
Right. To start off, we came into the tournament with William Gallas moaning about Patrice Evra being captain. Not an ideal situation. The players supposedly being split down the middle because they half wanted Thierry Henry to play and half wanted Sidi Govou to play. Raymond Domenech being the second most unpopular man in France, reportedly behind Nicolas Sarkozy. And he was being replaced after the tournament anyway by Laurent Blanc. Now, since then, there was loads of arguments before the first game, and Florian Malouda was dropped because of an argument with the manager. Fast forward to losing 2-0 to Mexico at half-time. Nicolas Anelka, the lone striker, seen as a star man for France, had an argument with Domenech, said something that he shouldn't have, refused to apologise, and has been sent home by the French Football Association. Now, the captain, Patrice Evra, came out and said that there was a traitor in the camp who had leaked the details of the argument to the French press. Now, usually these sort of things happen, but it doesn't really get reported. It's sort of kept quiet and people move on and it's fine. But he said there was a traitor in the camp who'd reported it to the press. Then training starts yesterday, and literally 5 minutes into the training session, Patrice Evra, the captain, has an argument with the fitness coach of France, who storms off, throws his accreditation away, and appears to walk away and resign on spot, basically. Who knows why? No idea why.
It's crackers, isn't it? This is in front of the world as well.
It was an open training session. It was being filmed by the French press, the world's press.
It's great for us because it's great drama, it's great entertainment.
It's like a soap opera, isn't it?
It's like an embarrassment, though, isn't it? Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
And what's this with Nicolas Anelka?
We don't know. We don't know. He's now quit international football as well. So basically, they've said, we're not having this. So the players quit training there on the spot after 5 or 10 minutes of the session.
They were just walking, weren't they?
Went to sit on the team bus in protest. Then put a statement together to say that they weren't training today because they didn't like the decision of the French Football Federation to send Nicolas Anelka home. Which was then read out by Raymond Domenech, who really was the person who they're revolting against, because that's the manager who Nicolas Anelka had the argument with. And to top it all off, the managing director of the French Football Federation has said, I'm not having this, and he's quit as well.
It's just craziness, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Absolute craziness. When's their next game?
Tuesday against South Africa. Now, they said that they will play. They said that they will play. And it's reported that they will be training today.
All right.
However,
let's take a look at the fixtures
coming
up, because it's crazy. Some crazy combinations there, even today, actually. Spain and Honduras.
Spain need a win. Obviously, they got beaten their first game against Switzerland. Portugal need a win as well. I know that Ivory Coast were beaten by Brazil last night, but they could do with a win to keep the pressure on. But fast forward to Wednesday, there's the big one at the top there. Serbia, Germany will be looking to get through. Ghana have probably got the best chance for the African nation to get through to keep that continent's hopes alive. On to Thursday, you've got the Netherlands, who've won 2 out of 2. Massive game for Italy, just above that game against Slovakia. They need a win to ensure that they get through. And suddenly this World Cup has got very, 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 very interesting. And I'm delighted.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? I mean, we all thought, well, there's no point in taking much more notice of the World Cup. We can move on to Wimbledon now. But actually, this has just started to get very, very exciting, isn't it?
And hopefully those England players won't be focusing on Wimbledon quite as quickly as we are, because we don't want them home in time to watch it, do we?
No, absolutely. And we were thinking we'd have to create things like Moment of the Week and all the rest of it. And you know what?
I've barely got a chance to draw a breath, let alone pick out Moment of the Week.
You couldn't write it, could you?
Unbelievable.
Listen, it is incredible. So again, well, let's do a score prediction on Wednesday. Well, let's hope there is some kind of score.
Yeah. It's tricky.
It's so difficult, tricky, isn't it?
The first game was a little bit like that. I said 2-1 close, ended at 1-1. I was very confident going into this the Algeria game, and it ended 0-0.
You were 3-1. You were 3-0. I was 4-1.
4-1. It's an England win,
but not by.
My prediction is
just that they will win
2-0, and they'll finish top of the group, and we'll all be wondering what we're all bothered about.
I happen to think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Might not be good enough.
I don't know where that leaves us in a very precarious situation, doesn't it?
Probably out, yeah.
Right. Okay, well, there is always hope. Just that little tiny grain of hope is still there, Ian. Thank you. We'll see you on Friday morning.